amazing.
I know, and I was just saying how big this one is.
I was just talking the other night about I haven't had Chinese in forever.
And I've also never had sesame toast, which is
so
really
good.
Is it really good? I've never even heard of it as a thing.
No, it's like old school Chinese.
Really?
Yeah. Growing up, like you'd only ever have fish and chips.
Yeah, I
Pizza
never
or
had Chinese. I never had Chinese when I was growing up.
Oh, really?
I didn't like it, so.
It was probably full of MSG back then, so it's probably for the best anyway.
Well, I lived 50 k's almost out of the main town, so I never really got a takeaway. Anyway, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have some very special guests which I've been alluding to on my Instagram for the last week. Now I've got the gorgeous Phoebe and Sally from P.S.ITSAMUMTHING.
Hello.
Can I just say, this morning Elliot pointed something out to me about your blog name which I hadn't even considered, and it might not be true, but does the P and the S stand for your names?
Yes.
Oh my god, that is so cool!
Now from memory, I can't remember if we'd already decided on it and then did the same thing. Like, hang on.
No, this was very deliberate on mine.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
I
I had never clicked it until I said your name for your blog this morning to my husband, and he was like, oh, that's their names, and I was like, oh. But we have some yummy Chinese today. Now we're trying out this place that we've never eaten at, all of us, but I'm sure if it's good, you guys will be back because it's semi-local.
Yep.
So we've got some. Now I hope you're okay with all of these. This is a bit of like a gamble because over the phone, I was explaining to the girls before that I switched the camera on that the order didn't quite go as planned. So when he brought out the bag, he said to me lamb Mongolian, but I thought it was beef Mongolian that I ordered.
So it could be anything.
It could be anything.
I
Sorry.
don't think you get lamb Mongolian. I think it's just
No, lamb Mongolian is the actual normal one, but then they like make it a beef version for cheaper. So I was like, because normally in packs they don't let you do like the lambs and the prawn and that sort of thing. So it might be lamb, might be beef.
Mystery.
Mystery. Some special fried rice, and we've got some garlic chicken, which looks and smells really good. The whole car journey from the Chinese to here, I was like, yes. So now that we've got the fun thumbnail out of the way, which you guys probably wouldn't have seen, I thought I would throw it to the girls to basically introduce themselves so that you guys can get to know them. Obviously I'll leave all their links down below. They have a really great blog and an Instagram page which I've been following for ages, and that's why I wanted to invite them on today's video. They have some really great insights about motherhood, which a lot of them I'm gonna admit, like especially the dad one that you did a few weeks ago, there's things that I think about that I'm always like shy to touch on or talk about in case of the backlash, because obviously online I'm sure you guys get a fair bit of it as well.
Yes.
So seeing how honest and open you guys were and you weren't afraid to delve into those topics was really interesting. So I'm gonna pass it to you guys to basically just say hi and get things going.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Phoebe. I'm Sally. And wow, the blog's been going for a year.
Yeah.
Is it the anniversary yet?
We may have missed it.
Oh.
I missed my wedding anniversary. And
Oh no, did you?
Anniversary, so happy anniversary.
Oh, yay us. And what it started a year ago, obviously.
Yeah. Phoebe got something published on Mamma Mia.
Ah,
and
okay.
Like still our most popular.
And what was that one?
Article.
The title of the article is can we please stop saying all that matters is a healthy baby?
Okay.
Which,
I don't think I've read that one.
yeah, it's definitely still our most popular or most read article, and it did really well when it was published on Mamma Mia, and I think it was really cathartic for me to write. Like, if I didn't set out to write it thinking this was going to be the start of the blog.
Right.
I started writing it for myself as sort of a personal healing.
It's kind of the way things happen though, isn't it? Like when people write books, or even when I make video ideas in my head, I kind of never think of it like, this is going to go viral and this is going to go on my channel first in this order. You just kind of think, I just want to get this off my chest.
Yeah. That was exactly it. I think I just had it all inside. I had quite a traumatic birth. My son was born at 28 weeks gestation.
Wow, gosh.
Yeah.
And to think I'm only a week off that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, when you guys were just talking about your due dates before.
Well, yes,
like,
yeah,
we're
too.
way
Oh,
off.
gosh,
I was thinking
that's
that the other day.
That's now how I think, because when we're all pregnant
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
how I think
we
about
are all pregnant.
Yeah.
Let's make that.
So that's how I now think about like pregnancy dates. Is, you know, I hear someone say 27 weeks, and in my head I'm like calculating statistics about women.
Yeah.
But
It's totally natural.
yeah, that's right. So yeah, I developed something called HELP syndrome. So some people may or may not have
I've
heard of
never
it.
heard of that.
No, I hadn't before I got it. It's kind of like a severe form of preeclampsia.
Oh, right.
But I wrote the article probably about 12, would it have been 12 months?
About 12 months.
About 12 months after the birth. And really the reflection of the article is that, because people hear that, you know, you hear, all that matters is that you have a healthy baby. And I think, while people aren't saying it maliciously, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And being pregnant again, I think it's given me a bit different perspective, because I will go through it all again in a second, as long as I have a healthy baby. And I'm very aware that other women have much worse outcomes than I do. But I think because of that, people kept saying, you know, that's all that matters. And so it meant I needed to stop talking about the birth, because I was still really hurting from the trauma of the birth, of having him taken straight away, that would excuse me, to the neonatal intensive care unit, and having him there for 3 months. And it was just a very traumatic birth. But he was fine. So in some ways I felt like, why are you still talking about it? Like, your son is fine. Some people don't even have a baby, you know. So in some ways I felt like people saying, all that matters is a healthy baby, was silencing me. And I think, you know, a healthy baby is the most important thing, but the mother is also important as
your
well.
mental health as well. And
So it's enlightening about the mother's health as well as the baby's health.
I think birth does, like how you birth does matter.
And I can see how that would be shared, because it is a very taboo topic for the exact reason of you don't want to offend anyone.
You seem ungrateful when you seem, I think I was worried about that, and I just wrote it for myself, and then I didn't expect the response that it got about, I guess, other women saying that's exactly how I felt.
Well, I think I'll link that blog down below in case you can relate, because that sounds like a really good read, and I am surprised I hadn't seen it. Like, I can't remember how I found you guys on Instagram. I feel like you guys may have liked one of my posts or something, and then I looked at your profile and then started reading your blog from there.
Probably.
But
we had a bit of a girl crush on you on
Instagram.
Instagram.
I love your makeup. Like
my makeup, oh my gosh.
All your clothing.
Oh god, no.
I always think, she's going to have makeup done professionally.
No, I
do
always
it
think
so
that.
beautifully.
Oh really? Oh my gosh,
I
I did it on the car ride here.
We're not very
Oh no, well thank you, that's really flattering. But no, I think it started from you guys liking it, and then I followed you. But yeah, so I have to have a read of that, because that sounds so good. But today's topic is not going to be about that, unfortunately, although now it would have been nice to float on from that. We're actually talking about work mums and stay-at-home mums, the pros, the cons of each of them. And I really just wanted to stress this too, because I got a message from someone that all mums are working mums. So regardless of, you know, going to an actual physical paid job, if you're staying at home full time, that's still a job. A hard job. Trust me, it's one of the hardest jobs, I would say, because mentally you're just drowned in it. So yeah, that's what we'll be talking about. So don't feel like, you know, if you are a stay-at-home mum, that we don't think you work as well. But yeah, so I might grab my phone quickly, because I've got some questions from you guys. But now remind me, is it Phoebe or Sally that works, or do both of you work?
I work.
You work.
Yeah.
And
I'm
you
a
stay-at-home mum. Cool.
But kind of like a mix, a little bit like a balance, because my son still goes to daycare.
Yes, same
days
as
a week.
me. Yeah.
And I do freelance writing at home, so I have a contract for that.
Right.
But it's
like blog writing or book writing? Or?
I write for blog writing.
Okay.
Yeah, for Brisbane Mums Group, so it's like a
amazing
Facebook group. Yeah, so
that's really cool.
But it's only sort of 5 hours a week at home, so I don't really class it as, it's not my career.
Right.
Yeah, I work in finance in like my actual.
But that's also good to mention that that's sort of a bit like a hobby, and it takes you away from that mum life. That zone of grind. So this is a good one to start with then. What are the pros and cons in terms of how it's affected your relationship with your partner? So I guess whether you choose to go to work, whether you choose to stay at home, that sort of thing.
Good question.
Yeah.
Mine was a bit of a journey, because I had intended on going back to work. So I had my son in Melbourne, and I lived in Melbourne.
Okay.
And then after he was 4 months old, my husband and I were just like, we can't do this. Like, all our family's in Brisbane. It's just too hard by ourselves down here. So we decided to move back to Brisbane. So I quit my job, thinking I'll get a job. It'll be easy.
Yeah.
Like, I have so much experience. I've never had a problem before.
Never struggled to get a job.
You've never struggled to get a job. Yeah.
And so did you apply when you came up here?
Yeah,
and you actually struggled?
Oh, really? I struggled really bad for about 6 months. So I put my son in daycare, which was agonizing. Like I really didn't want to.
No.
But I had this like real chip on my shoulder about I should be working. Like I should go back to work. I should contribute financially to my family. And I was really worried about being out of the workforce and like losing that track that I was on.
Right.
But yeah, after 6 months of trying, I wanted part-time work. Like I was determined not to go back full-time. Yeah, just kept getting knocked back and knocked back. And it was
really hard for you.
It was awful, yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually my husband who was like, what are you doing? Like you're killing yourself, you're so unhappy. Even when you're home with Max, you're like focusing on this, you're not living in the moment with him. It's really stressing you out. We don't need you to work. Like we can cope with you being home with Max. Just enjoy it.
I think there's that pressure in this day and age as well. I hate that saying, in this day and age. But to have that pressure of being a woman that can do everything.
Have it all.
Like have it all.
Yeah.
And like, why can't I choose to be a stay-at-home mum? Because I feel like
and that
I
in my
get
heart
questioned.
is what I really wanted to be as well. Like,
and also because like, you know, you were saying it took 6 months and all you could focus on was that, but yet you could survive without having it. So I think it's just that pressure of having to justify to people why you're not returning to work, you know, because that's the one thing I get a lot is I get a lot of people commenting on my YouTube videos saying, how can you think this is a job? How dare you put your child in daycare?
Really?
Oh yeah, I've had so many people say that to me. And regardless of YouTube, I would still have my child in daycare 2 days a week. And that sounds terrible.
No, it doesn't.
But it's not for my sanity, it's actually for his growth.
for his growth.
Yeah, so I found that he's learned so much more being in there. But I still have to justify. I have to justify to people, you know, why I want that for my life.
I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Because when I like really came to the conclusion that okay, I'm going to stay home, I found this bit of freelancing work. I was like, okay, now I'll pull Max out of daycare, and I was like, well, he's taken such a long time to settle. He's so happy, loves it. It gives me a break. Like it was once again, it was my husband who was like, he's staying in daycare.
Aren't they amazing?
Staying in
Aren't husbands
daycare.
amazing when they do that? They just they get your back and like they take that mum guilt away from you that you know is stupid.
You know it's irrational.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
I'm such the worst for mum guilt. I'm awful.
100%.
Every single day.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's actually funny we talk about that mum guilt sort of thing. I literally said that I felt so guilty I hadn't paid any attention to this baby.
Oh no.
And Elliot's the first to be like, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Don't get out of that. But yeah, it's funny we're talking about like, you know, stay-at-home mums and how we want to do it all and be it all and stuff. And I was actually thinking how much times changed quickly, because what was it, maybe 100 years ago, it would be deemed absolutely crazy to want to work when your full-time job is to be a mum.
Even
and
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like almost neglectful. Like you have children, that's where your priority should be.
Yeah.
But also, what I want to touch on quickly too is like, there's a reason that, well, I feel, I mean, this is just a personal opinion, but I feel back in the day there was a reason that we as mums did stay home with our kids, because it is a hard job. And I feel like there's this pressure on us now in society to do not only that, but to bring in an income, because a lot of the time people don't have the choice that you know I have, and possibly yourself as well. I'm not sure what your circumstances are, but to actually, oh my god, I've lost my brain.
Joys of pregnancy.
But the fact that you have to bring in that income because you don't have a choice, but also be that mum who cooks, cleans, you know, keeps the house in order and everything like that, and still maintain social life. Like, how is that even feasibly possible? Something that this society thinks is acceptable for women.
And it's no wonder we're getting so worn down when there's all those expectations
100%.
to do all that and be all that, and still, I don't know, like,
And the
of course
mental
we're
health
getting
side of it.
run down and driving ourselves insane.
And I still don't understand how we can get out of it either, because I feel like the society is now in that place of, well, why are you choosing to be a stay-at-home mum? Or like, that's not work.
It's almost flipped to the other side now.
It's the stigma of you're just sitting around in your pajamas drinking coffee.
100%.
And your kids play. But it's like, okay, so
But do you think that really is like societies? Because any mum surely knows, even a working mum, like as a working mum.
I mean, I'm not
don't
going to
think that
lie,
because I've
before I
a
had kids, I did think I was going to sit at home all day with the TV on.
I never even thought about it, to be honest.
Didn't you?
I just always presumed I'd go back to work. I don't know. Yeah. My big thing is, okay, if I go to work, it's not like Max is just going to sit in a room and stare at a wall. Someone's going to be taking care of him.
Right.
It's just going to be someone else who's taking care of him.
Yeah.
And they're not, like, daycare workers, oh my God, that they work so hard.
Yeah.
Just, that's the hardest job. Yeah. Actually.
Help yourself to more if you want more too.
Yes. And so it's not like they're sitting around in their pajamas drinking coffee. Like they're working.
Although they have a brilliant
Yeah.
children. So when you go in there and you're like, Christ.
And if anyone's met my son, Phoebe, he's a bit crazy. And
is he?
He's very full on.
High maintenance? Yeah.
He loves
Mine's
his mummy.
He loves his mummy. Oh my God, he loves his mummy. A little bit too much.
Mine loves the dad, which makes it hard because like he grunts all day. He just whines for his dad all day.
Oh, the whining.
Yeah. And I love that they have that relationship, but I'm like, do you want to swap? I'll do your job, you do mine. No, I absolutely love being a stay-at-home mum, but it's tough. So tough.
I think Joe was really fantastic. My husband was really good about when we were umming and ahhing about going back to work, because I took 18 months off, just under.
That's a nice
I think
amount of time.
it was really good. Yeah, and
You got to be ready.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the first year with everything going on with Arthur's like medical appointments and things like that, there was just no chance of going back that early. And he was so tiny. And I just
What I will say just so quickly, when you say we were ready, or we have to be ready, some people I feel so bad for that they don't have that option and they feel like they have to put them in, and financially, you know, they're just not going to survive. And I had a few people say that they how do you know when you're ready to go back? And honestly, I think for some people it's not a matter of it's just a matter of if I don't, we won't live. So it's so
I think
tough.
it is important to like sort of acknowledge that the privilege that it comes from a place of just being like, and my husband was so supportive, just saying, you know, whenever you're ready, if you're ready. So it was a choice for me to go back. But yeah, some people it just isn't. Like we've got a good friend who's a single mum and she works full time, and that's just how it is. And I don't think that, honestly, I think kids are just so resilient, and I think there'll be no difference between a child that stays at home full time with their primary caregiver and a child that goes to daycare. Like both those kids are going to be fine. They're resilient. They come from loving homes. People just have to do what they have to do.
And again, it's that mum guilt, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're so young. How can I put them in? You know, that sort of thing. And some women who absolutely love their jobs, and I know a couple when I first had DARS, they went back after 8 weeks because they just mentally needed that
stimulation.
Yeah, stimulation, and like almost because they loved it so much, it was like an out, like it was like their zoning out kind of time.
I have a good friend who, she went back when her daughter was 3 months old because she just was like, I just want to go back to work.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And there's also,
because I always presume like if people go back that early, it's because they need to. So it's interesting to hear.
She didn't need to. She still doesn't need
want
to.
to.
She just wants to go to work.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the time the case, is that people who really love their job do. I mean, it's not always the case. Don't quote me on it, but they do earn a good salary, so they don't have to go back.
Yeah.
But it's just that love of their job, and I do find that sort of pairs hand in hand with a lot of these days, like women will put their career first, and so then they have that love for their career, and then when their child comes along, that doesn't mean they don't love their child, but they also still want that career. They want to maintain that.
And it's the mum guilt either way, because I know I've gone back just because I do love my job and I've worked really hard to get to a certain point, and I didn't want to lose that momentum and just lose that about myself. But then you feel like you're suddenly prioritizing your work over your child.
100%.
You either way preparation before you went off on maternity leave too.
Yeah.
So
really?
Yeah. So it was going back to this role, which was quite stressful. But I mean, there's pros and cons, because it means I get to go to work, and while that is stressful, I think more because you just have to try deal with getting dinner and cooking and cleaning and that kind of stuff. But equally, you know, no one's like screaming at you that they want their red cup or their blue cup.
Yes. Oh my god.
No one's losing their shit in a meeting because.
Do you want some more drink too?
Oh yes. Oh no, sorry, I got it down.
You're right. No, it's totally fine. Yeah, you made a good point then, and I've now forgotten it again. Baby brains is fantastic, Katie.
Soon I'll be working full time.
And how do you feel about that?
Work-wise, I feel good, because I think the more you're at work, the more you're involved, the more you're throwing yourself into it, and the more you get out of it.
Right.
And you feel like, you know, no one at the end of the day tells you you're doing a good job as a mum. Like, you know, you spend the day at home, no one's like, you nailed it today as a mum. At home, like, if there's ever a day where you don't think, oh, I could have done that better, or I was on my phone too much, or I should have, you know, you're always doubting yourself. I feel like I probably doubt myself less at work. So in that ways, I'm looking forward to increasing my days, but the logistics, I'm really stressed.
Yeah,
like,
we spoke about this
so
last
stressed.
week.
Like, literally, how do you keep the
How
house
are you going
clean?
to handle it?
Yes.
How am I going to get, like, at the moment, I do my cooking and cleaning on the 2 days I'm not at work, so I have like dinners prepared and
But then
things
when's
like
your
that.
time? You know what I mean? Like, you never...
And even then I'm not really spending time with Arthur because
Yes.
you know, I mean, I get him to stand at the bench while I'm cooking and things like that. But then once I'm at work every day, I mean, I sound like I'm complaining because
No,
I know,
but this is honestly, this is exactly what the point is. Like, this is exactly what we're all thinking when you think about going back to work.
How
You're
am
like,
I going to do it?
how the frick am I going to do this?
Yeah, and you need a partner to share the
yeah,
load all
and I'm
the time.
I mean, I'm so lucky in that Joe, my husband, is so good, and we do really share those roles. Like, we're quite adamant about not conforming to those gender roles, which is another positive I think about going to work, is that I feel like I'm setting an example for Arthur. But
Right. Which then also comes back to, if you're both working, you're both doing the role of what a man used to do, so you should both be doing the role of what a woman used to do.
Yeah, so I think we'd both be really good at getting the work done, but I think, and Joe would acknowledge this, the mental load, I think, is, Joe would be all for being like, yeah, we both have to cook, we both have to clean, because we do that anyway, but it's the thinking about it and worrying about it, and
again, stereotypes and what other people
whatever
think
people
and say.
Yeah. Because you're going to remember, okay, we need to call the pest controller, okay, bin day, we need to take the bins out, all right, have we bought our mother-in-law a present, like things like
those
that.
stuff.
The lists will become your best friend, I think.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I need a list anyway for my baby brain. But yeah, no, that's exactly like you said though, like the fear of, I think, what most women have when trying to balance the career. And I mean, I'm quite lucky that I haven't had to have that balance yet of trying to figure that out. I just do it all while mum lifing it at home. But I can't imagine trying to fit all of those categories into the 7-day week.
Yeah.
Maintaining your relationship with your husband, maintaining your relationship with your son.
Yeah.
And having another one on the way, and then obviously time for yourself, and then the bills, the chores, that kind of thing.
It just feels overwhelming. I haven't even started.
But I think it's just a matter of, isn't it, like starting it and then just kind of getting into the habit, and it'll just feel normal.
Finding a new routine.
Yeah.
And because obviously lots of mums work full time, so it's doable. It's not
not
doable.
Single mums.
Oh,
yeah.
Single mums, hats off to them, because I don't.
Amazing.
I don't know how you'd do it, because you'd have to work to pay the bills. And you'd have to get the lunches ready for the next day.
You have to get up in the middle of the night if
your baby's
just
you.
No tag teaming.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
This is a good one. I forgot to mention names before, so I apologise. I'll probably take a screenshot. But do you ever get bored being at home for most of the day?
Yes.
Do you?
No hesitation.
No hesitation. I was going to say there's no time to be bored in my house. I'm like constantly on my feet, but
I get bored like
right. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Bored mentally, yes. Bored physically, probably not, because you don't really have a chance. Like if you think, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have this cup of tea and sit down on the couch, 100% that toddler will be on you, and you'll be like, right, let's go for a walk, let's play with this.
No, but yeah, when you're sitting there playing with Legos, you're just like, oh, shoot me now.
Yes. It depends on the kid too, because like I mentioned before, like he's a massive mummy's boy. He can't do anything independently.
Right.
He won't play by himself. Like mummy even when I'm like come to Phoebe's house and we're having a play date, it's really just me sitting on the floor at a different house. Like he's mummy. So I get really like it's
needs your attention.
You know. And yeah, like sometimes it gets really boring. And I have this really big thing about not turning the TV on more than like 20 minutes a day when I'm having dinner.
Yeah.
And so I would love to turn the TV
Gee,
on,
that's
because it's
good.
the only thing that will make him distracted from anything else. But
I don't know how you do it.
Well, it's the mum guilt thing that I suffer.
Right.
I think it's good to say that you get bored though, because I think it's one of those things you're not meant to say because you're spending time with, you know, your loved one. But it's like, no, at times it's boring.
Well, it's funny because I hadn't thought about it in the mental aspect. Like I was just thinking about it like, do you get bored or you're sitting down, you know, trying to flick through the TV, what to watch kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was thinking that regard of boredness, where I'm like, no, I don't have time to be even like thinking of that. But then like when you're actually thinking about how mind-numbingly bored you are while doing the activity, that is 100% true. Because you know know that that block goes on that block and this goes there and the train goes choo-choo and
or you're
all
driving
these
and
things.
Mummy, that's a bird, Mummy, that's a truck, Mummy, that's a tree.
Yes.
You're like, yes,
Yeah.
that is a tree.
So it was very, yes, 100% very bored. But I honestly didn't even click that that was like part of it. So yes.
What's your story about being at the hairdresser?
Oh my god, I love that
That
story
takes
so
a lot.
much. I nearly
such
did
a
it the
lot.
other day at like at the shops. We were like driving past and there was a truck and I nearly went, pin!
Yeah, that's what I did when I was on Insta stories, and that's what they're talking about, is that I was at the hairdresser having some very like rare just me time. And I don't know, I was tired and I wasn't thinking, and a garbage truck went past, and to the hairdresser I went, look, a garbage truck! And she was like,
Oh yeah.
It's just so, and I didn't even know if I should try explain, and so I just didn't say anything, and it was just really awkward.
Are you going back to that hairdresser ever again?
It was luckily, it was the same hairdresser I go to, but it was just like, you know, like the girl, like the apprentice that was, she was just doing like bits and pieces.
So you might wave
So
at her
every time I see her, she's just
occasionally.
like, that really weird lady who loves garbage trucks.
And I'm really big into like planning activities and breaking my day up into like a structured routine so that it does keep the boredom at bay as well.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
Mondays, my parents come over. And
That's
then
good.
Tuesdays, we usually have a play day with like Phoebe and our other mum friends in the area. Wednesdays, we go to music. Thursdays, daycare.
Yeah.
And like Thursdays, I go to boot camp. And then Friday, you know, like there's something.
It's
there's
funny you
routine.
say that.
Yeah, so even if it's
Yeah.
not a work routine, there's a routine
Yeah.
that keeps your days not just, oh, we're playing on
Yeah.
the floor again.
Yeah.
Right, and it's interesting that you say that because there's, you know, certain Instagram pages that you can follow too that gives you a great idea of what activities to do with toddlers. I saw the other day, I think it was the Brisbane mum page, someone asked, oh my god, I'm so like bored with my toddler, I don't know what to do. And it was really cool, this woman had these 2 lists on her fridge. She had a list of free activities. I mean, her kids were a bit older though, so they could choose. And then she had a list of like paid activities, and they could each day like pick one. So that way she kind of has a routine, but then she kind of lets them pick it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to implement that when my kids are old enough to pick. But excuse me, oh my gosh, indigestion again.
Even just knowing what's happening around the local area is really good. Like I'm a bit of a
Yes.
guru for knowing what's
Sally's the
happening.
best. I never know anything, and she,
That's
even in
my
my area, I
problem.
have to message Sally and be like, what can I do today? So I don't know anything, and she'll
Wow.
have this list about ideas, and I'm just like,
It's
this is
because I
amazing.
write for Brisbane Mums Group, so I
Yeah.
have to
Right.
have fresh ideas all the time.
I think we touched on this, but what do you do to keep yourself occupied at home? So to assume like sane, because we're kind of just doing stuff with the kids most of the time, but I
Yeah.
guess to keep yourself sane, maybe listen to music. I know I chuck on music in the background.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with the Guilty Feminist podcast.
Oh,
All
okay.
the time, because I just am crazy binging on it, although I can't have it playing when Arthur is there because they swear.
I was going
a
to
lot.
say, does he listen to it? Is
Yeah.
he going to be a guilty feminist?
Yeah, maybe a feminist because I'll
Yes.
raise him that way. But yeah, no, I tried to play it in the car. I was just like, oh, if he ever swears, I'll be definitely blaming it on my husband. But it may equally be Deborah Francis White from the Guilty Feminist.
I hadn't even thought about swearing. I should probably cut that. If you weren't a stay-at-home mum, what would you do for a living? So I guess some of us have got side careers. I'd probably just be doing YouTube still if I wasn't a mum, but I guess to earn an income, like I probably wouldn't, again, that whole social expectation of, well, if you're not working and then you're not having kids, what are you doing? Like YouTube's not a job, like that kind of thing. So I guess I'd probably, it's so funny, I've never had like a career like in my mind. I've always just been like mum. And
That's
then,
what you just always wanted to be, mum.
yeah. And then I've just sort of done stuff to fill in time as it's happened, and then I found YouTube,
Yeah.
and that was just as much of a passion after a while. But I mean, when I was 16, 15, you know, unlike kids in high school now, when people say that they want to be YouTubers, I mean, there's still that whole stigma of you can't do that, or you wouldn't do that, it's not a career. But like, even if it, I guess it was around when I was 15 or 16, but it wasn't like well known, and I didn't know of it.
Actual like
Like an
avenue,
right.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really think I'd probably just be doing a job that I don't love.
I would just be working in
chilling.
finance.
Yeah,
For sure, going out partying, still.
living the island.
I'm lucky in that I do do really love my job. I got into nursing. I started doing social work when I first left school, and then I ended up doing nursing because I had a real passion for travel and I wanted to be able to do that. And then I ended up doing more public health and health promotion, and at the moment I work as a case manager for people that have quite complex chronic health conditions. And I mean, obviously it has its good days and its bad days, but I really enjoy working in healthcare, and I don't know if I wasn't specifically in that job, I'd still probably want to be doing something to do with health promotion or helping people.
Someone asked, when do you know it's time to go back to work? What is your plan? So I guess the what is your plan, my part, but we touched on this earlier, didn't we? Like how you know when it's time to go back. So for, I guess, some people they don't have a choice, but then for me, I felt it was still not right to go back. Like I extended my leave because I just felt, I mean, as I've said just before, like I've always just wanted to be a mum. It's always what I've wanted to do. So for me, going back to work would just be for monetary reasons, and it's just at this point not a necessity. Like it would be nice to have holidays every year, but at the same time I'm like, what's a holiday for 4 weeks compared to living my dream every day?
Oh,
so
you gotta weigh up.
Yeah, so I think you'll know. Like, did you know when?
My maternity leave ended at 12 months, and I knew that I wasn't ready to go back at that point. That sort of also coincided with when I was really struggling mentally, coming to terms with the birth trauma and things like that. So I'm not sure if that kind of contributed. And things were only just finally settling down, and I felt like I was only just starting to enjoy Arthur. I was obviously enjoying motherhood before then, but I think I was finally able to be like, everything is okay.
And you weren't panicking.
He was okay.
Yeah.
You didn't have as many appointments.
Yeah, it was like starting to find myself as a mother and things like that. So, and I was still breastfeeding. Like breastfeeding was a really big thing for
That's
me.
another factor.
That was
isn't
a
it?
huge factor in not wanting to go back to work.
And I feel like that's a really, I just like as a society, I feel like that's not valued. I feel like women are forced to back into the workforce financially, and breastfeeding is just like forgotten.
Yeah.
But, the implications if someone wants to breastfeed, the implications for like public health, protective wise, is amazing. Like.
Okay.
As a society, that's going to save us money in the long term. Like studies have showed that if you are able to, and people should choose, but if they want to be able to breastfeed, I find it really sad that they have to go back to work
and can't.
And I mean, they say, you can have pumping breaks and stuff like that. Like anyone who has had to express milk, it's
100%.
It's not like anyone's like, yay, I get to pump.
Yeah, and even still, it's not as
And it's
effective
hard,
as like you could try express milk, then you'd still end up losing your milk supply because if you can't express enough, then.
And I can imagine too, like, I've seen, pictures of mums sitting on loos pumping, and I can imagine coming out of the toilet being a bit like a urine jar, like you'd be like trying to like hide it as you get back to your office.
Depending on your industry, like I work in financial services. I couldn't imagine in the male-dominated office that I worked at being like, I've got to go pump now.
Just walking through the hallways, think of express breast milk.
And men would be so uncomfortable.
Or hearing the noise, they'd be like, shit, there's a vibrator in here. I think that's when you know, it's like you just have that feeling.
Yeah, just like, no, I could do it. I wouldn't feel like my soul was being ripped out.
Yeah.
Max at daycare 5 days a week.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you're not going to still struggle to drop them at daycare, because I know that when I first signed Darcy up, you're just like, am I making the right decision? Is this the right choice? No, I'm not ready. And the other thing too, like working mums struggle with, and I don't know how they do it, is like because that first year of daycare is so full of sickness. Like you have to have a job that's really understanding, or you have to have a lot of sick leave built up, or not mat leave, what's it called? Annual leave, carers leave.
Yes,
because
they do get sick every 3 seconds, and yes, you have to take
literally
sick days every week. Every fortnight, I would probably take a day off. My husband and I would have to take it, and I'm luckily working for the healthcare industry, which is a lot of females. I mean, my boss is male, and he is so understanding. He always says, "No, your son comes first." Like, wouldn't blink an eye. But I'm like,
but not all bosses
I'm leaving.
Is it? No.
I literally just have to be like, send him a message, be like, I'm leaving again.
Yeah,
that's fine. And luckily, I have work that I can shuffle things around. But they get sick all the time.
And the routine in daycare is that you do have those families who have to send their sick kids to daycare, and then they get the other kids sick, and you're like, why just send your kid to daycare? Sick? So, well, you don't have a choice.
And you get parent judgment. Like I had a few times where I've mentioned on stories something, it's not that he's sick, but he might have been sick or something, and they're like, why are you sending him to daycare sick? And I'm like,
and sometimes I don't even know, like sometimes they'll randomly get a temperature. He kept them home every time. They were like are you serious?
Yeah, because you're teething temperatures, you know, that sort of thing.
exactly.
It's so tough. And someone asked the same thing, how long should you stay at home before going back to work? Again, it's just sort of a personal feeling. Not a mum yet, but really enjoying and earn more. Sorry, really enjoying working and earn more.
Then a partner.
How do you overcome mum guilt? So really enjoying working and earning, maybe? I don't know. I'm a bit confused by that one, but I guess if you enjoy your work, which is what I'm taking from that, and maybe you earn more, yeah, as you said, than your partner, then overcoming that guilt. It is, I would imagine it's so tough, knowing that you're the provider in the family.
If you were the primary.
Yeah, and I don't know if that means that your husband might stay home looking after your child, or if it just means that you're both working and then your child's in daycare. I wouldn't feel guilty about it. I mean, if it relies on you to go back to work to keep the household going, then that's ultimately the decision that has to be made. I don't think that's something that you can feel guilty about. It's just unfortunately the crappy society and world that is with the economy.
It depends on, like we've spoken before, my husband and I, like before we had children, about why don't you stay home for 6 months and he stay for 6 months. After having Max, I couldn't cope with knowing that he was home and I was at work. I would hate my husband.
Yeah, you resent them. Yeah.
Because I think both our husbands are like very involved. And they would, like Joe, if I ever said, I'll go back full time, you stay at home with Arthur, he would be like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, my husband's exactly the same, but he's the bigger breadwinner in our family, so it doesn't,
And I just, it wouldn't be worth me just not loving him anymore.
The end of your relationship. You come home just like glaring at him every day.
And I think it's because we're raised that way. We're raised to think the woman is to raise the children. And I take my hats off to women who are comfortable and happy for their husband to stay home. Not that my husband wouldn't be capable of it. I know 100% that I could be leaving him safely in his hands. It's just that jealousy almost. It's like, well, why are you getting to do that? I'm not getting to do that, you know.
Poor husband.
Yeah, poor man.
He hears about all these wonderful adventures we go on, and I complain, oh, I'm so bored today. But then, yesterday we went to the play center and it was so much fun. And then Max took his first steps and you weren't there, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think as a society we don't share it enough. I mean, I breastfed up until 18 months, so that was probably a big reason why we didn't share it as much. But I think there's definitely room for us to do that better as a society, to share it more for men and women, to take parental leave as opposed to maternity leave. We get all these entitlements as women to stay home paid for so long, and then men
2 weeks usually.
With their newborn baby. I just think as a family unit that's not valued.
Yeah, it is a shame. It is. I'm not sure how the government works with payments to dads and stuff, but I think Elle's work only pays in 2 weeks. But it's just like, if you're the primary carer, surely you should be under the category of mat leave for whatever the terms are of your company, sort of thing. Not just, oh, you're a man, so you get 2 weeks, and you're a woman, so you get 13 weeks.
Oh, and I don't know actually, because I've never really looked into. So maybe it is. Maybe the husband says,
because I've always been asked, am I the primary carer?
Yeah.
So maybe if they say that, but maybe let us know in the comments if you have your husband off with your children, or if you know the answer to that. Now we'll just get through a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap it up, because we've been talking for a while. We've got lots to talk about on this stuff apparently. Someone asked how to answer people's judgment as to why not working at the moment, especially family. I don't think, unfortunately, you can say anything to someone who's judgy, regardless.
So I don't know, people with, in my circumstance, I was so stressed about my professional girlfriends judging me, but then they would never. But it sounds like this person has a judging family.
Just about figuring out if it is taking a really big toll on your mental health, and then having that awkward conversation.
Right.
Because if it's just a bit irritating, then I guess you can ignore it. But if it's actually something that's keeping you awake at night, or something that's really upsetting you, then I think it's worth sitting down.
And I'm the kind of person that stews on things as well. So if I know that, especially if a family member isn't happy with my choice of life, but I mean, I don't understand why that would be such a judgy topic, to be honest. I think there's a lot worse things you could be doing.
Well, you can't win either way.
No, I think you can't, never going to please everyone.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for watching I was gonna say blog. It's not a blog, we're actually watching a mukbang. But yeah, definitely go check out their blog. As I said, I'll leave the links down below. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Now we just had the camera die on us, so we're gonna wrap up the video before it dies again. But as I was saying, leave a comment down below if you guys can relate to any of the stories we've talked about today, or any opinions that you might share with us or against us maybe. But also, as I said, don't forget to check these girls out, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye!
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such